It's the road to Stanley. DJ Bean, Pete Blackburn. Pete, the Daniel Plainview mustache is gone, which means the Edmonton Oilers are dead. Golden Knights eliminate them in 6 games and are headed to the Western Conference Finals. What had the bigger impact here? The impressive play of the Vegas Golden Knights or something disappointing about the Edmonton Oilers?
There were elements of the Oilers being disappointing, but I think overall I'm more impressed by what Vegas did in terms of shutting the Oilers down at 5-on-5. I mean, they allowed 9 goals in 6 games at 5-on-5. That's against an Oilers team that ranked 4th this season in 5-on-5 scoring. That's impressive no matter which way you cut it, but I think what makes it even more impressive was the goaltending situation for the Vegas Golden Knights. They lose Laurent Brossoit early in the series, and at that point, when Adin Hill comes in, no disrespect to Adin Hill, but I'm going to disrespect him. I thought the series was over when he came in. I thought the series was done. You put Adin Hill in front of that Oilers offense, and I thought that the Golden Knights were toast. I mean, you look at what William Karlsson's line did against Connor McDavid in terms of, they faced McDavid more than any other line. They basically shut them down, and then Vegas got all their offense mainly from one line. That Eichel line was incredible. And then, I just think that things started to turn more in Edmonton's favor as the series went along, but it didn't matter because Vegas kept showing up and kept doing exactly what they needed to do to win. And I was just really impressed by Vegas's ability to face adversity and ability to kind of stick to their game and find wins.
Stick-to-itiveness, if you will.
That's what I was looking for. Thank you.
My problem is with Oilers head coach Jay Woodcroft. We talk a lot in the postseason, especially about the importance of last change, which is essentially the home team being able to dictate who plays against the opponent and not the other way around. It was maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes into the second period in Game 6 when I wondered, does Jay Woodcroft know about last change? Does he know that he has last change? Because not only does he start the third line in a do or die game, which whatever, teams do that sometimes. They'll start bottom 6 guys and hope to get a little momentum. Cool. They give up a goal immediately. Edmonton, you're not the team that should be doing that. You have the best players in the world. Put the best players in the world out there as many possible seconds as you can. That's one. And then 2, in the second period where you're really, really struggling, you still have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl separated. At 5-on-5, this team is struggling to generate scoring chances, certainly to bury the puck in the back of the net. So, if it's not working at 5-on-5, what would you like? Maybe a power play. How do you get that? By having good players out there and the other team clutching and grabbing and hitting them with their sticks. Although actually you only get suspended 1 game for that in this series. But maybe try to draw a penalty. Woodcroft was way, way, way slow in reuniting Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. And then this part is maybe...
They got their penalties in the second period, and then they just nullified them immediately 5 seconds later with cross-checks in the back. The Matthias Ekholm cross-checking penalty was inexcusable. I know it's kind of a soft call, but you can't do that. That was a big turning point for me in Game 6.
You're getting ahead of yourself. I'm saying 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes into the second period because finally, once he got to that power play, and I was texting friends, I was going to post screen grabs on Twitter, but unfortunately, I was maybe using some swear words because I was so frustrated with Woodcroft. Okay, play PP1 for 90 seconds instead of the whole 2 minutes, which is what you usually do, and then you can get them back on a cycle of putting those 2 out there together. He was at least able to do that, but this is the third part, probably a bit of a second guess, but the goaltending. In the second period, Stuart Skinner absolutely fell apart, and that's before the puck started going in. I think the Oilers honestly could have seen that coming. Skinner is a good young player, but he gets worse as these games go on. In 11 second periods, he only made it to 11 second periods because in the 12th one, he was already pulled because of that horrible game against the Kings that they ended up coming back and winning. But in 11 second periods, he's allowed 14 goals. He was bad last night, and I know the Jack Campbell experiment hasn't worked as well as Oilers fans and the team would like. I seriously would have given consideration to just starting him in that game because if he's rough, at least you can bring in Skinner. But in this case, Skinner just fades and fades and fades. So a lot of issues you could take with the Oilers and their head coach, Jay Woodcroft. Tonight, we've got a Game 7 between the Kraken and the Stars to see who will play Vegas in the Western Conference Finals. What would be a more compelling conference final series? Vegas against the Kraken or Vegas against Dallas?
I'm going to say, I think they're both compelling, but I'm going to say Dallas. And the reason being because I think that the Stars have a little bit more star power to them than the Seattle Kraken. And guess who we just lost? The two biggest stars in the Western Conference in Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. I think that, I'm all for parity and I don't really care. Everybody's complaining about, oh, look at the Final Four. You've got Florida and Carolina and the ratings are going to say, I don't care. I want the best teams in it. But I do think that you need a little bit of star power to hook fans in, not necessarily like, straight up hockey fans. They're going to watch no matter what. But to pull in peripheral fans, I don't know how much like a Joe Pavelski or a Rupe Hintz or a Tyler Seguin kind of pull in neutral fans. But I'll tell you what, it's more than what Seattle has. So I'm going to go with the Pete DeBoer Bowl instead of the Expansion Bowl. And I'm going to say the Dallas Stars make a more compelling Western Conference final.
You don't want to hear people complain about what these final series are shaping up to be. Pete,
happening no matter what. It's happening no matter what.
They're complaining for you. You're a Bruins fan. Your team is screwed. They have cap overages and need the cap to go up. And you've got teams that the league really kind of doesn't want there, at least from a marketing standpoint and a rating standpoint. They're trying to do this for you. They're trying to do it for you. I want the Kraken to go to the Western Conference Finals, mainly because as an Oil man, I'm a little stung by this whole Vegas thing. And at the very least, I want to take away the Misfits score tweet. I want a Misfits Bowl, an Expansion Bowl, whatever you want to call it. Give them the Kraken so the Knights can act like, oh, nobody thought we should be here. People kind of thought you should be there. Nobody thought the Kraken should be there, and it would be a cool story. Not as cool as when the Knights initially did it in their first year, but this would be pretty neat. Who's your Stanley standout from over the weekend?
I'm going to say Adin Hill. He let in the first 2 goals in Game 6 and then stopped the next 39, and we've talked about it. The goaltending in this series was maybe the biggest difference between these two teams, and the way that Adin Hill stepped up and kind of stole Game 6, you might say, because they had 20 high danger chances on Edmonton's side. I know a lot of those came in the third period, but he held very, very strong down the stretch and made a lot of big saves. So Adin Hill, I'm sorry for disrespecting you. I wasn't familiar with your game.
I want to give credit to Bruce Cassidy, and I want to offer my condolences to Boston Bruins fans for the second time this postseason, because now not only have the Bruins obviously been eliminated and chunked it in great fashion Game 7 first round against Florida Panthers. We all know that. I just got into like a Stephen A. Smith thing where I was worked up and then slowed down a little bit and then sped back up. But now Bruins fans have to wonder, with Bruce Cassidy going to a new team, getting to the Western Conference Finals, hey, where would the Bruins be if they had Bruce Cassidy? And I thought about it, Pete, and they would have gone farther in the postseason if they had Bruce Cassidy, because we saw last year that Bruce Cassidy was not afraid to go to Jeremy Swayman after some initial funniness from Linus Ullmark. I think that the Bruins were afraid of sticking with their goalie rotation this postseason. Bruce Cassidy probably would have done it, maybe would have done it, maybe the Bruins would have gone a little farther. So apologies to Bruins fans, and congratulations to Bruce Cassidy for really recovering from his dismissal from Boston. What do you think happens tonight in Game 7?
I'm going to say Dallas. I've stuck with Dallas since the outset. They were my pick to come out of the Western Conference. I'm not going to bail on them now. It is a 1-game sample, though, so anything could happen. I'm very excited for a Game 7.
I think the Stars win, but boy, am I not counting out Yanni Gordon. Those boys in Seattle, it should be a good one. All right, this has been The Road to Stanley. For Pete Blackburn, I'm DJB.